Okay, today's date is February 1st. I'm sitting here having my morning coffee. And, I just finished saying that there is no law that says I'm required to go into a courtroom, since the commissioner, Julia Snyder, refuses to recuse herself. So, I handed the reins over to my lawyer, so I no longer have to deal with any court appearances. So anyway, here I sent in my response on a declaration to Commissioner Snyder explaining that what she found irrelevant, obviously I found relevant. And so anyway, so it gets filed. Apparently, the same time my declaration got filed in response to Commissioner Snyder's refusal to recuse, the commissioner, I guess, granted the defendant, my neighbor, her request to have a court hearing based on the fact that she wants to remove the property lien and prevent any future, claims from me that I deserve to collect some money. And that she was going to attach it to SC 145, to which I responded, no. She didn't attach an SC 145, but if she does, I will gladly, of course, accept that. That means that she wants to make the payment to the court. In the meantime, I've already, been speaking with my lawyer, and he sent her a letter telling her that she is to make payments to him, to his office, actually. And at that point, I don't have to communicate with her at all, and she can pay off it, and all is done, and notify the commissioner what's happening. So I called my lawyer to let him know that now we have a court hearing, apparently on March 11th. March 11th. And like he said, if she, the commissioner doesn't want to recuse herself. There's no law stating I actually have to appear. And so put in for a remote hearing, put in for a continuance, and he's going to represent me. Because really, truly, I'm the plaintiff. I shouldn't have to be going through all this just to get the money that was awarded to me due to the actions of the defendants. Yes, defendants, there are 3 of them. And somehow the one next to me keeps manipulating the court. And me having to go in there. I'm not going in there anymore. No, I don't want to. And so, I spoke too soon, apparently. Apparently there's still more court hearings, even though I don't want to. Here's the timeline at this point. First, my neighbor put in that request for court order and answer, demanding I be required to remove that lien. And then she responds with, first striking down my request that she recuse herself. Then she grants my neighbor the right to have the hearing. And then, I guess, my filing of my response to the commissioner got posted on 129. And there's a hearing. Hearing scheduled for 3/11/2024, March 11th, 9 a.m. Room S1, Simi Valley Courthouse. And ironically, the same time all this is happening on the Ventura County website, I get my, mail-in ballots for Ventura County. And first thing I see is apparently Commissioner Snyder is running for judgeship. So, it's like, wow. Do I go ahead and vote for her to become the judge just so she does get out of the courtroom? Because she is a commissioner at this point, she wants to, Commissioner Julia Snyder, she's a commissioner, so she wants to be the judge. It's almost worth it to me to vote for her so she can be a judge and get out of that courtroom and maybe get a different commissioner in there. I just know that she refuses to recuse, so at this point I also have to file a relatable case because I do have a restraining order against my neighbor at this point. So both judges have to be aware that there's 2 cases happening. Like I said, I've never worked so hard to get money in my life, and I'm so glad my lawyer at this point is stepping in to assist me on this. Okay, little update here. It is February the 16th. In a few more days, I have that temporary restraining order against my neighbor, which I'm hoping to make it become a more permanent order. You know, at least for a year, I'm hoping. I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, you know, no matter what excuses or validation she has for being so mean to me and destroying my property and harassing me, I think the, you know, facts speak for themselves over the last 6 years. So I'm hoping, yeah, that the permanent restraining order will be extended for at least a year, because I apparently still do have to contend with the civil case, you know, in which I had the lien on her property, and the judge refused to recuse herself, and my lovely neighbor went in there and demanded a court hearing as soon as she found out that I now have an attorney that has always actually been my attorney, but yeah, that I'm bringing him in to deal with this because I'm tired of dealing with it and I don't want to be in a courtroom anymore. So yeah, apparently I spoke too early in hopes that I would never have to go into that courtroom, but at the same time, fortunately for me, my attorney is willing to deal with it. So today's date, yeah, February the 16th, everything's been filed. My attorney is on record, is the substitution for dealing with this matter. And, well, Ms. Crosnoe, of course, put in an additional demand for that hearing when it takes place on March 11th. Again, demanding that that lien be removed, and as far as she's concerned, she only owes me $300. So, I've already told my attorney, do whatever you got to do to end it. You know, if you have to, she actually still owes, I figured it out, did all the math, roughly almost $1,600. Not quite, but I've authorized him to cut it in half if he needs to, as long as, you know, she's still required to pay the removal of that lien fee that is charged. And if they still don't go for it because they still feel she's the victim here in all of this, I told him, walk away. Just freaking walk away. Just say, we're done. And call it a day, because I am, you know, done. But he wants to, of course, wait and see what happens at that hearing next week regarding that restraining order if it gets extended, because it does need to be extended. And it's been effective so far with a few hiccups, yeah. John has been coming back, and, you know, they're trying to bait me here and there, but that's okay. I'm ignoring it. But okay. So anyway, I was required to respond to her demand again before the hearing, so I just wrote, as plaintiff and judgment creditor, I have spent the last 6 years required to contend with the Ventura Superior Courthouse with the hearings and related paperwork due to the 4 related cases of Kelly versus Crosnoe. And then I go on to talk about the cases and just put it in writing that the current amount owed is this, and that I have asked my lawyer Robert Ross to assist me and represent me at the hearing of 311, as well as to act as my agent in the event of a collection of judgment process. So who knows what's going to happen. I just know at this point in time my lawyer is willing to represent me at the 311 hearing, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed that on the hearing next week for the temporary restraining order, that it does become some form of a permanent restraining order. Only time will tell what happens, right? The justice system, you just never know what's going to happen. I will say this, whatever happens on March 11th, I'm hoping ideally, as I've told my lawyer, to at least get half of what she owes me, because I have been put through the ringer for the last 6 years, and I have spent more than the actual judgment trying to collect that judgment, and tons of paperwork, and not to mention, yeah, the lovely neighbor has been willfully destroying my property while being bound to pay me money for the other properties you destroyed. So, you know, clearly she signed that contract in bad faith. And my having to spend thousands more dollars because she's mad that I have a lien on her property, I think I should at least get half of what she still owes me. Okay, today's date is February the 18th, 3 days before the next restraining order hearing takes place, and this is the current status of what is up against my fence. Yes. A lot of stuff. Yeah. Like I said, that's what's left of my post. That's what's left of my wooden fence. She currently has the lion blocking the marker of the boundary line. And her friend John, of course, is doing all of this, but as you can see, yes, the hose still running all along my fence, all along the retaining wall. She still has the sign posted that this is her property, even though it's not. And if you follow the hose, you will see it is still stuck underneath my backyard fence. And that's, yeah, where the most recent tenant is living, I guess. And the tree, of course, is still encroaching on this property. As you can see, yeah, what's left of my retaining wall. Still actively trying to remove it. And disguising her actions by putting a bunch of plants here. And yeah, there it is, underneath my backyard fence, right there. See, hose. Under there. Yep. Yeah, the one marker she hasn't been able to cover up. But there was a retaining wall around that thing. Oh my God, yeah. Where she sawed it off. All my stuff is over there. Just crazy. Yes. So this is what the restraining order is about, trying to prevent her from further damage to my property.